Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Fursuit Friday. How you guys doing today? Hope y'all are hanging in there and enjoying your Friday. Today I'm going to be continuing with my all-time favorite movies countdown. Yay! So today I'm going to be discussing a movie that I don't think a lot of people know. I'm guessing a lot of you guys haven't seen it. It's over 20 years old. It's not based on a like a well-known property or franchise or anything like that. But it is a great movie. It's one of my favorites. It's very funny. And it's called Blast from the Past. So this movie came out back in 1999. Tells a story about a man who's spent the first 35 years of his life in a fallout shelter. It opens 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and at that time, he's in utero. His mom is pregnant with him, and his dad is like this brilliant but kind of slightly off retired professor who's built this fallout shelter under their backyard, and through a bizarre mix-up misunderstanding, they end up all getting locked or locking themselves in the fallout shelter that he's built because they think that an A-bomb's been dropped on LA. So they spend the next 35 years underground, and then cut to the late 90s, and circumstances force this guy named Adam Weber to go up to the surface to get supplies. And once he's up there, he falls for this girl named Eve, played by Alicia Silverstone, who's sort of this modern, city girl, very kind of jaded and streetwise, and but that's kind of the setup of the movie. Adam actually kind of ends up, Eve actually ends up working for Adam to help him buy supplies to restock the fallout shelter, and things kind of go from there. So that's the basic premise. A lot of things I love about this movie. Let's start with the main character, Adam, played by Brendan Fraser. Now this was back when Fraser was kind of big. This was the same year The Mummy came out. Big hit, of course. He had played George of the Jungle a couple years earlier. The following year, he would be in Bedazzled. Then he did The Mummy Returns. So yeah, that's sort of late 90s, early aughts period. He was kind of big. Had some high profile roles, I guess you could say. This wasn't really one of them wasn't really a hit, but he was kind of a hot commodity, I guess you could say, for a while. And I think he's just perfectly cast here. I haven't really seen him in other stuff. I never really watched the Mummy movies. I wasn't really into that. But he's so great at playing this like lovable goober with a big heart. And it's funny because everyone he encounters in the movie, they think he's either like nuts or that he has some like ulterior motive, because he's so like nice and like honest and direct and well mannered, and that's just how he is, because his whole life up to that point has just been growing up with his parents. They basically never left the 60s. He just grew up with Perry Como records and Honeymooners repeats, and good old-fashioned values, I guess. So yeah, that makes for a very funny culture clash throughout the movie. His parents are played by Sissy Spacek and Christopher Walken, and they're great. They're great in this movie. Really good chemistry. Christopher Walken in particular is he's hilarious. Like I mentioned, he's like this genius, but he's also kind of like a little off, like very like kind of socially awkward. He doesn't really have a filter. You know, whenever there's like bad news, he just kind of like says it and doesn't sugarcoat it. So that's and there's a really funny scene when he's the first one to go back up to the surface, and it's like raining and at night, and there's like this Cypress Hill song playing, and it's become this like, you know, ghetto, you know, rundown area, and he ends up like having an encounter with a hooker, and it's really funny, and like stumbling into a porn shop. Hilarious, great scene. And like before all that, during the 35 years, his wife kind of starts to lose it, just being underground for so long. So like she starts like drinking a lot, and yeah, they do a really good job. Like, you know, the movie opens, they both look really young, and then by like a third of the way in, when, you know, they go up to the surface, or at least Calvin does briefly, and then Adam does for a while. You know, the makeup crew did a really good job making both Sissy Spacek and Christopher Walken look 35 years older. It's pretty convincing. There's this very funny subplot. The land right above where their house used to be was turned into a malt shop, which over the decades like slowly devolved into like this dilapidated, condemned dive bar owned by this like burned out like wild-haired burned out hippie. And he ends up encountering Calvin the dad and Adam the son, and actually the mom at one point too, briefly, when they all come up to the surface, and he's convinced they're all God, like they're all like part of like the Holy Spirit or whatever. So he ends up like making a shrine in this like abandoned bar, and like he gains this like cult following. Everyone just comes to like, you know, wait for them to return. It's really funny. But yeah, that's another good part of the movie. Bear with me for a second. I gotta flip to my next page of notes. So yeah, the cast all around is really great in this movie. Alicia Silverstone, mentioned her, and then there's Dave Foley, who plays Troy, who is Eve's roommate, kind of the stereotypical gay best friend, but he has some funny lines and some funny moments with Adam. And like one of the funniest things about the movie is like, you know, Adam, like his interactions with all this technology and this modern terminology and all these people he's never, like kinds of people he's never seen. Like he sees a black person for the first time. That's a very funny moment. And then when Eve tells him that Troy is gay, like he only knows the traditional definition of gay. So that's a funny exchange. What else did I write here? Yeah, like his whole life has been, you know, primrose path, white picket fence, this, you know, super wholesome upbringing, just him and his parents. Now he's thrown into the modern world, but he's so like good-natured and sweet and innocent that like everything just kind of like bounces off of him, and yeah, it's funny. What else? Yeah, you know, it's just a really sweet movie. It's got a nice heart to it, a nice message about, you know, family sticking together, and you know, I guess like finding love, finding something pure and wonderful in kind of a crazy, messed up world. Soundtrack's great. A lot of Perry Como. I'm guessing I'm the only furry / millennial in the world who knows a few Perry Como songs thanks to this movie. But I could be wrong. If you flops know any, let me know. Would love to hear from you. And yeah, some good like late 90s alternative songs too. A little Dishwalla, a little REM. Yeah, it's some good tunes for sure. Oh, there's this one part where they go to this 1940s themed nightclub with all this like swing music. That's pretty bopping. And you know, it also I guess gives a little comic relief to our current situation. You know, like we're all in quarantine and they were in this fallout shelter, so I don't know. It's not exactly the same thing, but there's definitely some, you know, similarities there. So I don't know. You got to find the humor nowadays, and I think this movie, you know, helps with that a little bit. But even setting that aside, it's just a really funny movie. So I highly recommend it. Very funny, overlooked, underrated, I would say. But yeah, that's Blast from the Past, 1999. Brendan Fraser, Alicia Silverstone, Christopher Walken, Sissy Spacek. Very funny movie. And yeah, have you guys seen it? What did you think? Did you like it? Any other movies like this you'd recommend? But yeah, anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great rest of your Friday. And I love you. And hang in there, because you guys are awesome. Alright, take it easy, Fluffs. And I'll catch you cats on the flippity floppity. Bye.